Morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Schwa Mill, where every single Saturday at this time we help you craft your accent to sound more natural in American English. I will be your host. My name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath, which is one of the four key ingredients to getting a natural sound in American English. We're going to be talking about breath, we're going to talk about placement, pitch, vowel sounds, all of those components that are necessary to getting that natural sound. And I want to walk you through the process, though, in case you want to get feedback for your own pronunciation. We can actually do that live here on the show. This is the process to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to go to a website called vocaroo.com. And once you are at vocaroo.com, you're going to see a website that looks something like this. There's a big fat red record button. You're going to press that record button. You're going to see it's going to start flashing. It's going to give you the chance to start recording. Once you are done saying what you want to say, you end it. You click save and share. You see this link. You're going to take this link and you're going to go to our document that says that you can find in the video description where you can post your links. You're going to see some people here have already done that, which is great. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so you can see people have already started sending us files. You put your link right here. You can type your name. I encourage you to put the text in so that way we have no issues with understanding you and things like that. And you're done. So that way you can send in your pronunciation file and we can give you some feedback. Now, if you're joining us not live, so you're talking to us from the future, hello from the past, what I can tell you is that we use this same document every single week. I typically clear it out on Thursday or Friday. So if you put in your audio file, then you can come back next week and then we can take a look at your file for the next Saturday's session. If you have any questions about that process, be sure to let me know. But again, you can find the link to do that in the video description. Want to say some quick hellos to folks. Edward has been here for a minute. Hello to Edward. Thanks as always for being with us. Shoka's here as well. Good to see you both. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Let me know what are some things that you guys are up to. Trying to remember if there's any housekeeping things. There always are. Some brief little ones. I want to share my screen again just for a moment. Some things that are happening. First things first, if you go to our community tab, so if you go to youtube.com/fluentamerican, one of the things you're going to see is you look at our post from 4 days ago. I have released a video that is a masterclass on the aw sound. So this is words, for instance, like saw and bought and cost. Unfortunately, the video had some issues, but the audio came in fine. So if you want to practice a little bit with that, I do want to take the audio and just make a podcast version for people interested in that. But if audio issues don't bother you and you just want the video to practice with, I encourage you to check this out. It's from 4 days ago. It's on our community page at youtube.com/fluentamerican. This is the link. I can put this actually in the chat. You guys can check that out in case you want to get some vowel practice in. It's about, I want to say it's like 15 minutes. And it talks about things like placement, breath, and things like that as well. Hello also to Zia checking in. And last thing is if you go to fluentamerican.com and, I've already mentioned placement, breath, pitch, and vowel sounds a couple times now. And you're like, what does this all mean? You can even see it here, right? This is one of our big differences between other pronunciation resources. They're just not talking about these topics. And I think they're fundamental to getting a natural sound. So I want to help you out for free. If you go to fluentamerican.com, if you scroll down, you'll see we have 4-step American accent. You can register for that class. It is a master class that's already recorded. You can do the exercises with me, and you can also hear some examples from non-native speakers. So you can hear things that work, things that don't work as well, and also my suggestions for it. So that again is at fluentamerican.com, and then just scroll down to where it says courses, and you'll see that 4-step American accent. All right, trying to think, are there other things that we need to keep everyone abreast of? I don't think so. As we go through today's feedback session, I do encourage you, if you have a question about American English that you think I can help you with, let us know. Put it in the chat box. I can pull up questions or responses, like Shok saying she's doing okay, which is great to hear. And so we can discuss them. I'm happy to talk about anything related to American English pronunciation. But I think we are now officially ready to look at feedback and start getting you on the path that you seek. So let's get into it. Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, here, or here? Okay, so I'm going to now share my screen and also share my sound so we can get into the files. Not a crazy amount of files today, so I don't see any reason why we can't finish on time. Most likely we'll be going for the next hour, hour and a half or so. And give this a second to load. And let us look at our Google Doc. Okay, and again, there is still time if you want to send in your own pronunciation files. Find it in the video description. Or go to this link that I am posting and send in your audio file. I'm just going to pick at random up here. Let's kind of see this first one. We got a very, very, very long file, which is great. In general, for the longer files, I can't guarantee that we're going to be able to look at everything, but we'll try to look to as much as we can to get you on the right path. Let's take a listen to this first file here.
Once upon a time, many years ago, I was a lifeguard. I lifeguarded for about 6 different summers up at this place.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at that first 10 seconds because I think there's already plenty of things that we can discuss, which is great. Okay, want to thank, I don't recognize this name, Hagasha. Thanks so much for sending us a file. So you can continue sending us files in the future. Let's put this text in and see if you guys can think about what am I going to say. We're going to focus on this first part. And this was our long file, right? Okay, so let's take a listen to this.
Once upon a time, many years ago, I was a lifeguard.
Okay, so my biggest comment that's going to have an impact on pretty much everything else is that I think your placement is really, really, really high. It feels like you're talking from your mouth, maybe even the top of your throat, back of your mouth, or even maybe a little farther forward. It's like if I were to talk just like this the entire time, versus if I use instead my diaphragm, where now I'm projecting from a lower position. So if placement is a new concept for you, I definitely encourage you to start exploring it because it's going to change everything about where you're projecting sound from.
Once upon a time, many years ago.
We can use the word go as an example here because it's really high and blocked off for breath. So I want you to take, for instance, the word go. Let's just kind of talk about this for a moment. So for the word go, what I'd like you to do is I want you to say go 5 times. And each time you say it, I want you to try to go down the steps like go, 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 go. Do you notice how much lower my last one is compared to my first one? Go, 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 go. Okay, so I'd like you to kind of do that 5-step progression just to kind of get used to what a lower placement is like. But that's not going to be enough to achieve a natural sound. There's some other things that we're going to need to do as well. This is related to breath and airflow. So right now, it sounds to me like we're really using our lungs to do a lot of our breath, to get our air through, but we're not using our diaphragm. Your diaphragm, if you're not sure where your diaphragm is, it's kind of like around there, kind of, excuse me, kind of like top of your stomach, below your lungs, so a little bit below your chest. And your diaphragm is really important because without your diaphragm, you can't breathe. But the problem is that when a lot of people are talking in American English, they're not really using their diaphragm. Instead, their lungs are doing a lot of work. Like, for instance, if I say the phrase many, many years ago, I'm going to say it two different ways. See if you can hear a difference. Many, many years ago. Many, many years ago. So that first one sounded a little bit different. You may have noticed the pitch was a little higher and it sounded a little bit more restricted in terms of breath. And that's because I was using my lungs. The second time, I used my diaphragm. Now, you may still be wondering, okay, Jeff, you're mentioning diaphragm a lot, but what do I actually do? How do I actually get the diaphragm going? What are the steps? So one thing you can do is just take a big breath in and put your hands on your stomach. So, and then breathe out. Maybe do that one more time. And then breathe out. So one of the things that you may have noticed if your hands were on your stomach is that as you breathed in, you can feel your stomach expanding. And then as you breathed out, you can feel that contraction. Okay. That contraction is you engaging your diaphragm. Okay. You can feel your stomach kind of like doing that movement in. Okay. That's basically what you want. When you speak in American English, you want to feel your diaphragm. You want to feel a slow contraction inwards as you talk. And if you don't, there's a very good chance you're just using your lungs to do the work. One way you can experiment with this a step further is take a big breath in and then say, shh. This is again just to kind of feel your diaphragm. So I want you to breathe in and breathe out with feel all that breath coming out. Just to note, you can also do that step in a way that doesn't give you a natural sound. See if you can hear a difference between like and shh. Did you hear that difference? That last one, my placement was up here, kind of towards my lips. And then the first one, my placement was lower. So it's not just about the breath and the airflow, it's also about where's your placement coming from as well. So try and get that to be a little bit lower too. So this is going to have a big difference for the word, for instance, ago. I'm going to say the word ago 5 times, and I'm just going to use my lungs. I'm not going to use my diaphragm. Ago, go, 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 go. All right, now I'm going to do that again. This time I'm going to use my diaphragm. I encourage you to try this as well. Try to feel your stomach contracting, moving in. So breathe in. Ago, 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 ago. So again, instead of saying many years ago, so again, just adding more breath with the diaphragm and lowering the placement. That's going to have a huge impact. That is a lot of information just there, but I do want to touch on at least one more thing for you to kind of practice with. I think will be helpful.
Once upon a time, many, many, many years ago, I was a lifeguard.
Guard, guard. This is again related to breath. So we're just not letting a whole lot of air through. That's how you're getting that guard, guard versus gar, gar. This has a bit to do with the R sound, which I think in American English has a bit of a reputation. A lot of people think American English R's and they think, oh my gosh, the American English R is so strong. It has to be so dominant. It just takes over words like, and it can do that if you let it. But the actual truth is that it's actually a relatively light sound. It needs to be present, but not dominant, because if you let it dominate, it's just going to completely take over your words. But in actuality, it's the vowel sounds around the R sound that are important. So, for instance, in this word guard, guard, the key part is that ah sound a little bit before the R. So it's not guard, guard. It's see if you can do ah, R, R, R. See that like 3 times. R, R, R. One of the things that you'll also notice is just kind of pay attention to my lips here. R, 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 R. So notice that it's not too tight. It's not It's R, R, R. Also note that my lips aren't moving a whole lot, right? It's not R, R, R. No, it's R, 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 R. Trying to keep them open the entire time. You may also, in my mouth, you may be able to see my tongue doing a little bit of movement, like R, 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 R. Might be a little hard with the light. but you might be able to see a little bit of flickering going on. What I can tell you is that the very tip of my tongue, that's the tip of my tongue, is actually down against the bottom of my mouth. The back of my tongue can do a little bit of movement. R. As I get to that sound, the back of my tongue goes high. And then when I do more of that sound, the back of my tongue is down. So that's some of that movement that you might see. R, R, R. Guard, guard, guard. So I would try to work on that R sound 3 times. Try to get it as smooth as me. R, R, R. Try not to do R, 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 because that's a sign that your R sound is too strong. Your placement is too high, and you're not getting enough air through. The other thing with this is that we also have that G sound, right? So let's try to add a G into that. So can you say R, 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 gar, gar, gar? And just try to alternate between those a couple times. R, 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 gar, 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 R, 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 gar, 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 R. Cycle between those, but never stop the breath from flowing. Don't breathe in, just keep the air flowing. R, 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 gar, 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 R, 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 gar, gar, gar. Okay, and then not stopping, just try to open things up. That is a ton of information. Okay, so Hagersha, thank you so much for sending this file. I hope those 2 things by themselves are going to be able to take your English to a whole different level, because if you're able to get the right placement and the right breath on pretty much all of your sounds, it's going to completely change the way you talk. Guarantee you. Just doing those 2 things. Thank you again for sending us that file. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. I do need to take a quick water break. A lot of breath going on there. But if you're already getting some value from what we're doing right now, and you want to help me, do you guys actually want to help me? Here's the way you can do that.
Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing.
Okay, we're going to take a look at our second file. If that's cool, say cool. Let's bring up our document. Guess we got one down. Next. Come on, get the long ones out of the way. Let's see, you guys. Oh, we got see 10-second, 19-second file. Let's take a look at a 19-second file, shall we? Take a listen to this. See if you can guess the feedback I'm going to give.
Why does climate change matter? Well, it's happening. We look at the Earth from space and we measure it on the ground. And what we see is that planet climate is changing. The last few years, being almost 2022 began. It's serious.
Okay, I want to target the very last part because I'll be honest, I got a little lost on some of those words there. I think it was somewhere around here.
Climate changing. The last few years, being almost 2022.
Okay, that part is very difficult to understand. So this is where I think I can be the most beneficial.
The last few years, being almost 2022 began. It's serious.
Now, I don't know if this is a microphone thing or we're just kind of like mumbling, but this is definitely a little tricky to understand.
The last few years.
Just a quick note. So it's that last part that says like the last years. So she actually says the last few years. So like the last few years, the last few years.
Changing. The last few years.
Few years. I think we need a little bit more linking between few and years because few is kind of getting lost.
Changing. The last few years.
Unless you are just saying the last years, but it really sounds to me like you're saying the last few years, like the last few years. So let's imagine that you are saying few years. You want to make sure you're getting that oo sound clear before you get into that ye sound in years. It's like few years, few years, few years. Notice that as I get few, this is where my lips are, few, and it's going to open up. Few years, few years, few years. So as I get to that years, you can see my lower lip and my lower jaw dropping a little bit. Few years, few years. Because if you don't do that, it sounds a little tight.
The climate is changing. The last few years.
Last few years. I think what's happening is we're a little bit too closed off. Few years. Few years. Few years. Just dropping that lower jaw a little more on yours. What else can we say here?
Being almost sounding to get you began.
Okay, this is a little tricky. Oh, look at this. Marlene's here. Yeah, it's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. So this really the words are getting so lost here.
Years. Being almost sounding to get you began.
Is it
Years. Being almost sounding to get you began.
okay? So I can hear began. I can hear warmest, but I'm not hearing that since modern record keeping. Since modern record keeping
Years. Being almost sounding to get
have been the warmest.
changing. The last years. Being almost sounding.
I would also say so. Warmest is probably your stress. So you want to have the last few years have been the warmest since modern record keeping. So I would go up in pitch on warm and then lower your pitch on mist. Warmest. Last few years have been the warmest. Last few years have been the warmest. So higher pitch on warm and then a lower pitch on mist. What that's going to do is that's also going to create some more contrast for you to make it a little bit easier to understand. Because right now it definitely is getting a little bit lost. Okay. The last few years have been the warmest.
Years. Being almost
Do you see here that have been the warmest versus have been the warmest
sounding to get you began.
since modern record keeping began? I would also stress began. Now it's tricky too because maybe you're doing some shadowing, so there's always a chance that if you are shadowing, I'm telling you things that they did not actually do. But these are things that I do think would help with the comprehensibility here. Since modern record keeping began, have been the warmest. So that's like your first thought group there, and like we're high, have been the warmest. Then after that, we have a new thought group. And remember, when we switch thought groups, in general, you want your pitch to change as well. So I would go a little lower in pitch on your next group. Have been the warmest since modern record keeping began. Have been the warmest. We're up here. Have been the warmest. And then we're going to drop. Since modern record keeping began. Since modern record keeping began. Notice that modern record keeping began. And then we go up on gan because that's our stressed syllable. So it's going to go a little higher in pitch. Since modern record keeping began. And we just do down, 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 up. Have been the warmest since modern record keeping began. Have been the warmest since modern record keeping began. Just having those greater pitch variations, taking things lower, and then on your stress syllables going a little bit higher is going to add so much more contrast to what you're saying and make it a lot easier to understand. Because right now, the pitches are so similar, everything's running together.
It's changing. The last years. Being almost sounding to get you began.
Everything's really tight there. Since modern record keeping began. Since modern record keeping began. So like I would definitely say the key parts for the lower pitches are going to be key, bing, b. It's like those three syllables, key, bing, b. Those need to go lower, and that's going to help so much with getting everything understandable. Because then when you get to gan, it's going to really pop. Since modern record keeping began. So just kind of play around with those lower pitches there, and I think that's really going to help open up this last part and make it a lot easier to understand. For that last part, other things that stand out.
And the cloud is changing. The last years. Being almost sounding to get you began.
Began. Last thing on began. It sounds to me like you're stressing the first syllable, but the stress actually on the second syllable. Began. It's not began. It's began. So stress the second syllable.
Being almost sounding to get you began.
Began versus began. Okay, Shok, let me know if you have any questions about that. But thank you for sending this file. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully that can help get that second half of this a little clearer, a little easier to understand. Okay. Alrighty, guys, there is still time. Okay, we've gotten through 2 files. I got 3 more files on deck. If you want to send in your own pronunciation, Mylin, I'm looking at you. We'd be happy to check it out. All you need to do is go to our Google Documents, which is earlier in the chat or also in the video description. so that way we can hear you and share with you some thoughts, things to help you achieve a natural sound. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at our third vowel. We're doing longest. I'm gonna keep going long. This one's a 10-second file. I'm guessing it's sycamore, but let's see.
Today I'm practicing my low placement, and I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. I don't know if that sounds too low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try.
Okay, thanks Sycamore for sending us a file. And also lowering his placement. Fundamentals. Moment. Bring up everything. Okay, play it one more time.
Today I'm practicing my low placement, and I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. I don't know if that sounds too low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hear it. I like what you're doing overall. You're giving me a lot of rising intonation. If you don't know what intonation is, there's a couple different types. There's like a falling intonation, like this. That's falling intonation. We usually use that for sentences and also information questions. There's also this. That's rising intonation. We use that for questions that answer with, excuse me, yes or no. We also use it when we're not done talking. So to show that a thought is unfinished. Okay, so this, that's rising intonation. This, that's falling intonation. There are other types of intonation as well, like this, like kind of like a wavering, or this. That's kind of like another wavering where it kind of does more movement, right? And super common. I see that really quick. Edward. Question. Edward asks us, is the G in diaphragm silent? Yes, that is a silent G in diaphragm. Asking the important questions today. So I do, like I said, I do think we have a lot of rising intonation.
Today I'm practicing my low placement.
Rising.
And I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. I don't know if that's
Trying to speak more from my diaphragm. I don't think that rising intonation by itself is necessarily wrong, but using maybe some of those wavering intonations might actually help achieve a more natural sound here. Hello to Aisha Ali Ahmed. Thank you so much for being with us. If you have a question or you want to send a pronunciation file, you're more than welcome to do so. But I would play around with some of these intonations because I'm not saying you're doing like a Valley Girl accent, but you're kind of falling into some of the patterns of it where everything you ask ends on this intonation. So everything becomes a question, but it's not. You know what I mean?
today I'm practicing my low placement.
It's like today I'm practicing my lower placement. So one way, if you wanted a slight rising intonation for this, again, I would try to maybe add a little bit of a quiver to it. It's like today I'm pricing my lower placement. Like today I'm pricing my lower placement. I'm trying to. It's like today I'm pricing my lower placement. Like placement. Man. Do you hear that kind of quiver? Placement. Today I'm pricing my lower placement. I'm trying to speak like something like that is going to be a little bit more natural sounding than
My low placement.
lower placement. Okay, so just kind of studying some of those wavering intonation patterns a little bit. Or you could just use the following intonation. Today I'm pricing my lower placement. Today I'm pricing my lower placement. Today I'm pricing my lower placement. In that case, it's just a straight falling intonation. And that again could also be very natural.
Placement. And I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm.
And I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. So like if notice the way I said diaphragm there is again a little bit more of that waver instead of just a straight rise. Diaphragm,
My diaphragm.
diaphragm, fram, versus I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm, trying to speak more from my diaphragm, like something like that. Again, just a little quiver, a little wavering intonation will give you a little more natural sound. Or another option would be just maybe just a falling intonation. I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm.
Placement. And I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm.
I like that you're using some pitches. I like the higher pitch on trying.
I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm.
Like there's some good contrast here in the pitches. Yeah, honestly, you could even take it higher if you want. I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. So today I'm proud of my lower place. I'm trying to speak more from my diaphragm. Um,
I don't know if that sounds too low, but
I don't know if that sounds too low, but I like your movement on butt. I like also that. I don't know if that sounds too low. I really liked how you said that sentence. I think that's the most natural one here. It sounds really good.
from my diaphragm. I don't know if that's
I don't know. Great reduction. In fact, the video I'm working on right now, I was going to mention I don't know the reduction there. I like your reduction. So again, he's not saying I don't know. He's saying I don't know. Like I don't know. A lot of times, all the consonant sounds are just removed, and you're just left with vowels. I don't know. I don't know. Beyond that,
I don't know if that sounds too low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try. I don't know if that sounds too low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try.
we need to give it a try part.
I don't know if that sounds too low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try. Oh, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try.
Okay, I want to just touch on a couple quick vowel sounds, and we'll move on. Shouldn't.
Oh, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give low, but there's no reason why I shouldn't at least give. There's no reason why I shouldn't at least give. There's no reason why I shouldn't at least.
Shouldn't. I would just say, hey, can you try to lower your placement a bit on shouldn't? Because it feels like we're like shouldn't versus shouldn't. Like take the word shouldn't and just go down 5 times. Like shouldn't. Shouldn't. And the other word is give it.
There's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try. There's no reason why I shouldn't at least give it a try.
I feel like I'm hearing some give it versus give it. So continue to watch out for that short I sound. Hello, this is a beta. Thanks for stopping by. So again, instead of it's more eh. So that can be helpful with that short I sound. Just a note in case this is a new sound for anybody here. So that sound, the very back of your tongue is down. The sides of your tongue are touching your top teeth. It's almost like you're biting the sides of your tongue. And the goal is to get it sound like eh, and not e. Your language has an E sound, most likely. Most languages do, but there's a very good chance that your language does not have a short I sound. Most languages don't. And it's that sound. Don't make them the same. So it's not it's Give it. Give it a try. All right, Sycamore, those are my main things for you there. Thank you so much for sending that file. If you have any questions about anything we said, be sure to let me know. But we trekking. Folks, we moving here. We out here in these streets. I got 2 files on deck. I also, though, have time. There is still a chance for you to get in your own pronunciation files. All you need to do is take a look at the video description. And what you're going to do is you're going to see this link. It's our Google Doc, which will send you here. At the beginning of our video, you can look back. We walk through the steps, or you can just take a look at the document itself up top. There are steps that it tells you to do. So that way you can send us your own pronunciation file. I also do want to say, guys, if you are getting value from what we're doing, but you're like, man, I don't just want to study pronunciation for one sentence for like 5-10 minutes of mine on a Saturday. That's not enough to really make a huge difference in my pronunciation. If that's your thought process, I agree. Sending a file once a week, it's hard to grow and make noticeable changes in your pronunciation. If you're serious about pronunciation, honestly, pronunciation is something that you need to think about and practice a little bit every day. You feel it. If you take a day off, you feel the difference. You feel a little slower the next day. That's part of the reason why I created our program called Mission English. Mission English is a small group class that is held twice a day, Monday through Friday, according to the schedule. We meet at either 9:30 in the morning, at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon, or 8 o'clock in the evening. These are all New York based times. We also have some writing sessions as well. That's why you can see Saturday and Sunday. I did it today. We were talking about IELTS. I was looking at I was looking at Band 9 IELTS essays. You know how online, if you're taking the IELTS test, you look online and like you type in, hey, writing practice, and you see everything. Oh, Band 9 essay, Band 9 essay, Band 9 essay. I've never seen a Band 9 essay online. I'll put it that way. So basically, we looked at what someone claimed was the Band 9 essay, and we talked about all the reasons why it would not score a Band 9. But again, that's all part of our Mission English program. It's a small group class, so it's me and typically 3 to 4 other students. This week, a lot of people are on vacation. So we get a lot of one-on-one time, which is cool. I like spending some one-on-one time with you. So we can practice your exercises and things like that. The best part is the classes are recorded, so then you can watch them again at time that works best for you. Because I'll be honest with you, what you do in class, whether you're in class with me or another teacher, doesn't matter. What you do in class is so much less valuable than what you do outside of class. What you do inside of class is not as valuable as what you do outside of class. So one of the advantages of Mission English is all the classes are recorded, so then you can watch them again. Because when you take a pronunciation class, what happens is, let's say you're in class with me, and I tell you to do something, and then you do it, and I say, no, that's still not right. We have to do this. We have to do this. And you don't want to be rude in class. You're like, okay, yes, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. But then in your head, you're like, no, Jeff, I said the same exact thing you did. There's no difference. Why did that not work? But then you look at the recording and you listen to that recording and you hear the difference. You're like, oh my gosh, Jeff was right. That wasn't me. I said something different. You just don't know what you're doing until you hear yourself on recording. So that's the other advantage of our Mission English program. All the classes are recorded. In fact, if you sign up today, we have over 300 classes that you can watch. Talking about vowel sounds, placement, pitch, breath, difficulties, things like that. So we'd love to have you in the group. You can go to fluentamerican.com. I'm going to try. I was right the first time. So you can go to fluentamerican.com, check out Mission English. You get at least 30 classes a month for the price of what other teachers charge for one class. And you also learn more and faster. So I don't know what people are waiting for. Okay, I got. I'm looking at our document. 2 more files. Okay, so if you want to get your pronunciation file in, this is your time. This is your moment. Because once these files are up, your weekend with Jeff, your Saturday session with Jeff comes to an end. All right, let's load up our document again. Push myself to the side. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. Got 2 more files for you. This one's 5 seconds. Make sure you listen carefully. Take a listen to this.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay. The audio here is going to be a little tricky, but I'm going to do my best. It sounds like we're shadowing.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm guessing that was a model. I'm guessing that was a native speaker.
Hey, how's it going?
And then I'm guessing that was us. Okay. And our text. Okay, Chiggy, if you're here, lurking. Time is in Australia. Oh, she's probably not here. I think it's like 4 a.m. there. But if she's watching this in the future, hi from the past. Okay, let's listen to that again.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
Okay, I think the biggest difference is listen to going.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
Also the how's it a little bit. Yeah. Consonant sounds versus vowel sounds. I think that's the biggest difference. Listen to that Z sound in hows. Listen to that G sound in going and compare the first version, which I believe is the native speaker, versus the second version, which I think is Chiggy.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
Okay. So what I'm hearing in the second half of this is like, how's it? How's it? versus in the first part of it, what I feel like I'm hearing more, how's it, how's it, how's it going? How's it, how's it,
Hey, how's it going?
how's it, how's it? The contact is so light, okay? The contact is so light on that Z. So we're able to focus instead more on the vowel sounds because that's what American English wants. American English does not believe in consonant sounds. American English believes in vowel sounds.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? Then listen to this one.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it? How's it? So it's just a little firmer on the Z.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
How's it? But the bigger thing I think is the word going.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? Hey, how's it going? And then we get the second version.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? So what happens on that going is I think our placement rises a lot more, and I also think we're blocking a lot of breath. So I would just try to say the word go. I think we actually had this earlier. Try saying the word go 3 times, like go, 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 go. And if you find that you're saying go, 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 well, that's a sign that your G sounds really, really heavy, and it's affecting your vowel sound because your vowel sound's not getting as much air through. So we want the lighter one where it's just barely going through.
Hey, how's it going?
Going. The other thing is I think also a little bit on the vowel sound. I feel like I'm hearing oh versus just oh. So this O sound is a diphthong. However, the way American English treats diphthongs is different than how other languages treat it. For example, a lot of your languages, if you're watching this, you'd probably have an O sound. Okay. For instance, like the letter O. You see that on like the second letter in house or the second letter in going. But the way a lot of languages do it is they start off with an open position and then kind of end up rounding the lips like or like things like that. Whereas in American English, when we have a diphthong, oftentimes we take the first sound and the second sound and we try to like smush them together. We want like just one sound. So instead of oh, you want just like oh. So instead of go, notice how round my lips there got at the end, right? Go. We want more go. So try to keep your lips straighter. You can probably hear the difference there. In addition to placement, trying to project from a low position and trying to keep the air through. Okay, so I think those are going to be my big comments there for the word going in trying to attain a more natural sound. Chiggy, thank you so much for sending that quick little file. I hope I interpreted that right, that the first was a model and then the second was shadowing. Sorry if I got that way wrong. Okay. Also, just a reminder, guys, put this link up. We have a masterclass vowel video. Unfortunately, it had some issues on the technical side with the visuals, but the audio came in very clean. So if you want to just practice your vowel sounds and you don't mind a little bit of some video issues, I encourage you to check that out. Okay, the only way you can actually watch this is by clicking this link. That is the only way you'll get access to that video. It's free practice originally. If we didn't have the issue, it was going to be part of the channel or part of a paid course that you could get, but now it is completely free. So for you to access and take a look at. Zubeda sent us a file, which is great. Thank you, Zubeda. Before we get to that one, let's take a look at Marcos's file. It's a short one. This is the text that we're going to hear. There is still time, by the way, to send in your pronunciation files, but I do encourage you to hurry. Let us take a listen to this file. What say ye?
I can only work so many hours in a day.
Okay, pretty good. I like especially the first half of this.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
Okay, I really like how you're saying I can only work.
I can only work so.
I can only work. I can only work. I really like your stress. I like what you're doing with pitch. I think this sounds really, really natural. I can only work.
I can only work so.
Maybe on work you get a little more open on your vowel sound and say work, work, more work, work. I would say try to straighten your lips. Might be rounding too much. So it's not work, it's more work. I can only work.
I can only work so many.
The other thing that is not a big issue though, because you're stressing only, so work is not stress, so you can kind of hide it to a degree if you say it weak enough and fast enough. Okay. But in general for work, try to get that or so a little more breath. I can only work.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
Okay. I do think you have some opportunities to play with pitch for the other thought groups.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
So you're giving me 3 thought groups. I can only work so many hours in a day. I can only work so many hours in a day. I would have done 2 thought groups personally. There's nothing wrong with 3. I personally would have done 2. I would have stressed day. Like I can only work so many hours in a day. I can only work so many hours in a day. Or so you can hear the pattern I did there. I can only work, that's my higher pitch thought group. And then the next thought group, I'm going to lower it a bit. I can only work, then we drop so many hours in a day. You could do the opposite. I can only work so many hours in a day. I can only work so many hours in a day. So that time I went higher in the second thought group. Whatever you decide, just try to have a little bit more movement with your pitches, just to add a little bit more contrast.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
So many hours in a day versus so many hours in a day. So many hours in a day. Yeah, I definitely. The more I'm hearing it, the more I really would like you to cut out that middle thought group.
Work so many hours in a day.
Because it's really taking away a lot of your flow. I'd also want to take a look at hours.
Work so many hours in a
hours. Where's it? Hours.
many hours in a
Hours. Hours. I would try to get a little more open on the R.
Work so many hours in a
Hours. I can only work so many hours in a day. So just trying to open up that R sound. It's an hour, more hour. Some of it may help us making the tip of your tongue down, just bottom of your mouth, and open your mouth a little wider. So many hours in a day.
day.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
I can only work so many hours in a day.
Yeah, but those are going to be my major comments there. I think in general it sounds pretty good. Sorry, I don't want more, but that's it's a short sentence, and those are the things that kind of stand out to me. I think this is pretty good work. Okay, thanks to Marcos for sending that. All right. It looks as though we have arrived at our final video. Final audio file. As I load this up, again, just a reminder, if you're trying to get a little bit more practice every single day of the week, we have classes Monday through Friday, 2 times a day, where we can listen to your pronunciation. You can hear other people. You can watch previous classes. You can get this class recorded. And you pay for the price of a single class. Nothing else out there gives you live practice with a teacher from a main channel. Because that's the other thing, too. A lot of these other channels and things, like you sign up for the classes, and then you never see the teacher. It's like, where's the teacher? I signed up for this teacher. Where is the teacher? If you directly want to work with me 2 times a day, this is your option. Again, missionenglish@fluentamerican.com. Our last file. So beta. Sneak it in at the buzzer.
Today I applied for a translating job who wanted a person with a pleasant voice. And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
Okay, this is a true story. This sounds good. Congratulations, Zubeda. Getting the work done to get work. This is what's translation. Is it translating or interpreting or both? I feel like translating kind of scares me nowadays, just because AI.
Today I applied for a translating job.
For a translating job. I probably would have said translation, but that's minor. You're treating it as translating job, so you're stressing job. I would have considered stressing translating, like a compound noun. If you're not sure what a compound noun is when you have 2 things that join together to make one thing. I don't know why I'm holding up 2 fingers to make one thing. You could think of like a cell phone or a math class. These are two words, but they make one thing, right? Cell phone, one thing. Math class, one thing.
Today I applied for a translating job.
Translating job. Translating. Yes, definitely stressing job. I would have stressed translation. I tried for a translation job. Or you can also say like position, like translation position.
Translating job, or wanted a person.
What was that?
Wanted a person for a translating job, or wanted a person with a pleasant voice.
Are you saying with a person?
Translating job, or wanted a person.
I feel like I'm hearing I wanted a person, but I don't think that's right.
Translating job, or wanted a person.
Or I wanted to person.
A translating job, or wanted a person with a pleasant voice.
Person with a pleasant voice. With a pleasant voice. Again, some stress things there. With a pleasant voice. You probably want to stress voice a little more.
Person with a pleasant voice.
Pleasant voice versus pleasant voice. You know, in general, when you have an adjective plus a noun, you stress the noun, not the adjective. Just a note there. Edward making a note that he likes translation job better.
Job, or wanted a person with a pleasant voice.
With a pleasant voice. That's what I'm hearing versus with a pleasant voice. With a pleasant voice. Zobeda Nixon note that she also hears I wanted. That's great. Other things.
Or wanted a person.
They wanted a person. Okay, so Zobeda is saying it's supposed to say they wanted.
Job, or wanted a person.
Or even sounds like 100%, 100%, 100%.
For a translating job, or wanted a person.
100%. But they wanted a person.
Translating job, or wanted a person.
They.
Job, or wanted a person.
I'm just not. I think the thing is that TH wasn't clear enough. And that could be for a variety of things. You know, it could be the microphone, could be internet things. But just based on this audio here, the TH is not coming off, which is making it really hard to hear that as they.
A translating job, or wanted a person with a pleasant voice.
With a pleasant voice we talked about.
And I think I was so confident too. And I think I was so confident.
So you're stressing was. That's an interesting choice. That's not necessarily wrong.
With a pleasant voice. And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
I was so confident. I think I was. Okay, so there's some grammar things here, but I think that I want to focus on pronunciation.
And I think I was so confident.
I think I was so confident. So it is certainly possible to stress was in a sentence, but I think in this sentence, I would probably stress so. So is one of those words that when it appears in a sentence, it very, very frequently receives stress. Not say it has to receive stress, but very, very often.
And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
Wait, why Zobeda's writing too? Okay. Oh, tell her to grammar too. Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll talk grammar really quick. In a moment.
And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
So it said, I think I was so confident. I think I was so confident to send my resume. I think I was so confident to send my resume. So yeah, so just kind of watch out for the stress there, because a lot of times if you stress was, it's a lot of times used for like clarification or emphasis. You know, like someone says you weren't at the party, you say no, I was there. You know, in a situation like that, very natural stress was. In this situation, I don't get enough of that to justify the stress on was.
With a pleasant voice. And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
So that part, I think I was so confident to send my resume.
Pleasant voice. And I think I was so confident to send my resume.
If I were saying, I'd probably say something like, and I think I was like confident enough. I think I was confident enough to send my resume. I think I was confident enough to send my resume. Instead of I was so confident to send my resume. Or if you wanted the so, you could say, and I think I was so confident that I sent my resume. So like so confident that. So that's typically, when you use so, I know it doesn't often happen that way, but so traditionally is used to introduce a that clause. I was so tired that I went to bed. I was so hungry that I ate the cereal that fell on the floor. Not a true story, unless you're my son. Um, so it's like things like that. So and then that. But in this case here, we don't really get that clause. So you could add it. I was so confident that I sent my resume. All right, those are kind of things that stand out to me. So Beta, let me know if you have further questions about anything I mentioned there. But thank you so much for sending an audio. I'm glad you could squeeze it in before we headed out today. That's good. All right, I'm gonna just check the file on my end, see if there's any other audio files that I missed. There aren't. There are no more files. No more files. Well, if that's the case, I guess that's it. What else do I have to tell you? I have nothing. Again, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. If you're interested in getting pronunciation practice every single day, because pronunciation is something that, if you do not study it every day, is going to cause problems. Your progress is going to be slower. I'm not saying you have to study for hours on end, but hey, can you do 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I don't care if you work with me. Part of the reason why we made the group is to give you the opportunity. But the most important thing is, hey, can you carve out 5 minutes? Like, what are you doing for 5 minutes of pronunciation practice every day? Those are really the key things. So Beta's asking questions here. She's asking, where's the singer? Haven't heard him for a while. I don't know. He hasn't. I hope he's okay. Singer, if you're out there listening to us, please know that we're thinking about you. I have my shirt with with you on it singing. We miss you. And those are the most important things. All right, guys. Again, I hope to have a new video out on the channel. That's been fun to make, but also frustrating to make because that's how editing is. So keep an eye out on the main channel, and we would be grateful to see it if you saw it and checked it out. James, I do too. I forget what I said. I do too what? Also, James, are you Italian? Is your last name Frog? Like, I have so many questions right now. But yeah, that's all I got. I checked the document. I don't see any other files. So I don't think that's what James was referring to. James, if you did send a file, my apologies. Or if you send a file, I'll be happy to take a look at it next week. But once more, guys, thank you so much for spending time with me. Look, I know there's a million resources out there for American English pronunciation. So the fact that you spent a little time with me on a Saturday or whenever it is when you're looking at this, I greatly appreciate it. Jane's saying that they work all day. Got you. Thank you for clarifying. I totally understand that life. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Have a good night. Good afternoon. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time.